Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel Pretty in Paper by Dee, where we are all about sharing the joy of pretty papers. Now for today's iris folding tutorial, I'm going to walk you through how to make a piece of autumn wall art just like this one. So we're getting seasonal today, and we're going to use my pumpkin iris folding pattern to create this piece of wall art, so you too can decorate your home with iris folding crafts. Now everything you need to make this is in the box down below, so gather your supplies, get comfy, and let's get crafting.
So I've got all my supplies out in front of me for today's autumn craft session. And the first thing that I've done is I've just cut up the pumpkin PDF pattern download into the separate pieces. Now starting with my piece of A4 card, I'm going to use a ruler and a pencil to put some marks at the halfway point. So approximately 14.85 centimetres along the bottom and the top. And then I'm going to connect these two up so I've got a central line down the middle of my card. And this is just going to make sure that we get our pumpkin shape right in the middle. So connect those two dots up, like I said. And then once you've done this, you're going to put halfway points down the short sides of the card, which is about 10.5 centimetres. So you just need a couple of little marks using your ruler. And then you can join these two marks up again, and you'll have a little bit of a grid for your card base. And when you connect these two lines up, you will have a point that is right in the centre of your card. Okay, so once you've got your grid ready, you need to cut out the pumpkin silhouette on your card template. So just use a pair of scissors following the black line to get your pumpkin shape. Once you've cut out your pumpkin shape, I want you to fold it in half so you've got a vertical crease in your pumpkin. And this was what will line up with that vertical pencil line on the drawing to make sure your pumpkin is central. Now I'm going to make my pumpkin about 1.5 centimetres down from the middle of the card, and you'll see why later. So I'm going to line the pumpkin up with that mark and the crease in the pumpkin with the central line and trace round the edge of my pumpkin. Once you've finished drawing around the outside of your pumpkin shape, you can use a craft knife and a cutting mat to cut out the pumpkin. So using that pencil line that you've just drawn, place the cutting mat underneath your pumpkin shape, and with your craft knife follow the pencil line to cut out the pumpkin shape. Now you've finished cutting out your pumpkin aperture, you can remove the piece from the middle because you're not going to need this anymore. Put your cutting mat to one side because we're done with that now, and it's time to think about the iris folding. Okay, for this next part you're going to need the pumpkin iris folding pattern from the PDF download. So grab your pattern and a couple of pieces of blue tack, and you're going to put some blue tack on the reverse side of this pattern. And we're going to use the blue tack to make sure the pattern is nice and secure to the table. Once this is in place, you're going to go through the same process with the piece of card that you've just cut your pumpkin out of. So with a couple of pieces of blue tack, place them on the front of your card base, so the reverse side is facing up, and line up the pumpkin silhouette with the pumpkin pattern. So you can see all those numbers and lines through the middle. Once your pumpkin shape is in place, grab your pattern guide. Now you can see for this we need 4 different pretty papers. So I've got 4 different orange papers out at the top ready for my folding. And I'm going to cut each of these papers into strips about 2 centimetres wide and probably 2 or 3 strips of each pretty paper. Now you've got all your pretty paper strips ready, grab a strip of paper colour A and fold over an edge of about 5 to 7 millimetres. Just so you've got a nice crease in your paper. Then you want to cut a section large enough to cover number 1 on the iris folding pattern, making sure your folded edge is facing inwards. Line up the folded edge with the number 1 line on the pattern and secure in place with a couple of pieces of sticky tape. Once this is in place, you can continue following around your pattern guide, alternating your pretty papers as you go.
told me that I always had to be good, but being good always been problems is true. So I learn it.
Once the final strip of your pretty papers is in place, now this is one of my favourite parts. You get to cover the centre of the iris folding with some glitter card or sparkly card. Just place face down over the hole and stick in place with some sticky tape. Okay, now this is the best part. Turning over your iris folding to see all your hard work. Okay, time to add some finishing touches. Now that we've got a pumpkin ready, before we can add the finishing touches, we need to cover the back of the iris folding. So this piece of card I've just cut slightly smaller than A4. And I'm going to place sticky foam pads around the edge of this piece of card, making sure I've covered the corners and spacing about 4 or 5 centimetres apart. Then I'll peel the backs off and stick to the back of my iris folding.
No, I don't wanna play God. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm around, baby, it's true, yeah. What if I'm not good? What if I'm not good? If you never love me.
Now it's time to add those finishing touches. So in the PDF pattern download, there is a template for a little stalk for your pumpkin. So you can cut this out and then use a little bit of glue to stick your pumpkin stalk to the top of your pumpkin.
What if I'm not good?
Okay, so to decorate this pumpkin, make it a piece of autumn wall art. I've cut out lots of different pieces using my Silhouette Cameo 4, including leaves, branches, vines, and also this Hello Autumn little greetings, or whatever you want to call it. So I've cut out the Hello Autumn text, and then I've offset the path to give it a gold sparkly background. And I'm just going to use a little bit of glue to stick the text to the gold, and then some foam sticky pads to stick it to the front of my wall art.
If you never love me back, what if I'm not good? What if I'm not good? If you never love me back, what if I'm not good? What if I'm not good? If you never love me back.
Now that I've added my little Hello Autumn message, I'm going to use all these different branches, leaves, vines and flowers to build up a bit of like a autumn, woodland, foresty feel to the piece of art. So I'm just going to use little bits of glue on the ends of these branches and leaves and kind of curve them upwards to give a bit of a 3-dimensional feel. Now it's time to roll our paper flowers. So I'm just going to use a quilling tool to roll the flower around the edge of the tool until I get to the end of the spiral. I found this template on the Silhouette Design store, so if you want to make these too, I've put a link in the box below. Once you've got to the end of your flower rolling, you can loosen up the roll just a little bit to allow space for the petals to fold outwards. And then I want you to fold over that tab left at the bottom of the spiral, just so you've got space to get to the bottom of the flower. Then with a hot glue gun, apply a little bit of glue to the bottom. And hot glue is perfect for this because it dries quickly and it stops your flower unravelling. When the glue's in place, fold that tab over to cover the bottom of the flower onto the glue. And make sure it's stuck in place. And there you have it, a rolled paper flower. Now I'm going to keep adding flowers and leaves, building up this autumn forest feel to my art.
They told me that I always had to be good, but being good always been problems is true. So I learn it, and now I know I don't wanna play God. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm around, baby, it's true, yeah.
Now we've finished adding all our leaves and branches, we can add a picture mount just to complete the final look. Now I'm going to bring all the leaves out slightly in front of the picture mount just to again add a little bit of depth and dimension to this piece of art. And I think we're done here. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. See you soon.